Hey there, welcome to the Graced Health Podcast, your diet culture free source for aging strong in your physical, mental, and spiritual health. My name is Amy Connell. I'm a weight neutral certified personal trainer and intuitive eating focused nutrition coach who loves walks with friends, chocolate, and Jesus. This is the place for women over 40 who are looking to grow strong as they age and nourish their body, mind, and spirit. I'm so glad you're here. If you are a new listener, first of all, welcome. And if you want to learn more about this podcast, go check out season 19 starting January 9th, 2024. And then listen to the episode 30 plus non-gym ways to improve your health. You'll find the free download that goes with that episode in today's show notes. Let's dive into today's episode. We have made it through another season and almost another year, which is so, what is even the word? It's crazy. I started doing season recaps probably a year and a half ago or so, and found that I enjoy them just as much as you do. I typically have some loose goals going into each season where I am talking about various topics within our health, whether it is physical, mental, or spiritual. I like to alternate between episodes with guests and personal episodes. This season was a little different, and I will tell you why here in a minute, but it's always fun for me to go through at the end and mix and match. And so then I start to categorize them and think, okay, what category does this fit into? And this season was no different. And it was also actually a little bit easier because I had more solo episodes than I normally do. And I also had two primary focuses with my solo episodes. Let's dig into the season recap. I like for these to be a little shorter so you have time to go back and catch any of the episodes you may have missed. So recapping season 22, and then also just so you know, I do have some important updates at the end of this episode. Be sure to listen till the very end because I don't want you to miss them. The first category we had was that of food and nutrition. We started out season 22 with episodes 1 through 4 with a 4-part series, little mini series on protein. I talked about how much protein should we have. That was part 1. Part 2 was the ultimate guide to protein powders and supplements. I get a lot of questions about what's the best protein powder to have? So I sparse that out there. Part 3 was decoding protein needs, a comprehensive guide for women in perimenopause and beyond. If you are looking for the Cliff Notes version of exactly what you need to have. First of all, no, I'm not going to tell you exactly what you need to have because your body is different than my body, but I do give more guidance in that episode than the other ones. And then part 4 was practical tips for increasing protein in your diet. This went along with a free download I had of protein rich either meals, and really it wasn't so much meals as it was pre-cooking and prepping protein for you to easily grab for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. And so it kind of gives you some ideas of what you can do and get you taking care of your future self. So you can very easily pull out a chunk of protein if you want it and incorporate that into your meals. Moving on, still keeping with that food and nutrition category, we had Kathy Lipp come on. Kathy is an author of the book Sabbath Soup. She's also an author and podcaster of many books and 2 podcasts, but we talk about the intersection of meal planning and Sabbath rest. So Kathy has created this cookbook called Sabbath Soup that very gently, but also specifically if you want it, guides you through how to meal plan for an entire week. Number 1, easily, so it's not all on one day. And number 2, so you can prep the food in one day and enjoy it all week. The intent of this is to give us a day of rest, because even if we are honoring the Sabbath, we still need to eat and we still need to prep things up. So I love Kathy's guidance on this. I actually have a girlfriend who listened to the episode, got the book, and she said, oh my goodness, this has changed my life. She's like, this is so wonderful because she has been implementing the guidance that Kathy provides in terms of meal prepping or meal planning and meal buying and meal prepping. And it's just made her life so much easier. Episode 7 was another solo episode. I got a little controversial in this one because it is called Why Intermittent Fasting May Be Sabotaging Your Health, Especially for Women in Perimenopause and Beyond. This definitely goes against some of the guidance you may be seeing if you are following influencers and doctors on social media about menopause. However, I stand by the research that I did, and I think it's worth listening to so you can discern for yourself what is best for you and your body. We also had Dr. Maria Colon-Gonzalez come back in episode 8, entitled Revolutionary Strategies for Diabetes Management. So Dr. Maria does a lot of work with women who have prediabetes or diabetes, particularly type 2, though she also discusses type 1 and type 3. Did you know there's a type 3? So that was a great one. She just provided an overview of the different types of diabetes. We talked about insulin resistance, how it changes or relates to hormonal changes in women over 40. This was her second time on the show. I just love when she comes on because she brings such knowledge and education, but also through that lens of faith, through the lens of grace. And I just always appreciate her time on the show. And by the way, she has her own show now called Beyond Medicine, Humanized Care for Women of Influence. If you are interested in hearing more of Dr. Maria, go check that out. She has a wonderful show. And finally, to wrap up the food and nutrition category, episode 9 was what you need to know before purchasing supplements. This was a solo episode where I gave you some things to think about before you just go pushing your cart up and down the supplement aisle, grabbing whatever you want. So if you choose to use supplements, I think that is worth your time. And I highly encourage you to go listen to that one. The cliff notes on that, or the most important point that I offer that I feel so strongly about, even if you don't go listen to the episode, but I want you to know that if you are buying supplements, as best as you can, get them third-party tested. That is so important. You can go listen to that episode for more, but even if you don't, if you did not listen to the episode, if you are not going to listen to it, but you want to know what it's about, that is one of the key points I make. Get your supplements that are third-party tested, and I tell you how in that episode. The next category, which was not an intended category, but it just worked out that way, was one I am calling Healing from Diet Culture. In episode 5, Cassandra Baker came on, and we talked about healing prayer, rewiring the brain for freedom from eating disorders and beyond. Cassandra is a certified health and mental health coach who helps women find freedom from unhealthy habits and eating disorders. We talked about her journey of recovery. She talked to us about the powerful practice of healing prayer, and she just offers a unique blend of faith and neuroscience and practical strategies for transformation. In episode 18, I welcomed Jeff Ash on the show. If you are a longtime listener, you know that I don't have a whole lot of men on, but Jeff was a wonderful compliment to the Graced Health podcast. This episode was The Truth About Men and Diet Culture, a Christian perspective on body image, faith, and finding balance. So we talked a lot about tackling diet culture among men. We talked about just that structured eating that men often have, finding balance without obsession. I would say this is a great episode to listen to help understand the topic of how our culture, and particularly church culture, impacts men differently than women, and diet culture within that. And so that is a great one. If you've got men in your life, husbands, sons, brothers, coworkers, and want to support them to foster healthy mindsets around food, health, and body image, this is a great one to listen to. And the third one in the category of healing from diet culture is a mini episode I recently listed, which is 3 things not to do or say this holiday season. So that is a short one. You can go listen to that. But obviously, that is anti-diet culture. You hear so many things this time of year, and I'm really just challenging myself and challenging you and our extended community of reframing some of the things that we say through this holiday season and beyond, of course. The third category was stress management. In episode 11, we welcomed Marcelin Bailey in the episode called Exhausted, Overwhelmed, and Over 40. Here's why your body's stress response has changed. Okay, this was one of those episodes that was so delightfully surprising. As we were talking through stress management, how this hits women over 40 differently, Marcelin was sharing practical techniques, and we were talking about our faith. And in the conversation, I could tell that she stopped herself. And this was one of the beautiful things about having video during an interview, because I looked at her and I said, "You look like you want to say something more." And I got to tell you, she just brought it. She brought the word. She brought such power when talking about the breath. And I mentioned this at the beginning of the episode, but I did that interview in the summer, and I said, "Marcelin, I am holding on to this until election day," because I knew no matter what, we would need to pause. We would need to take a breath, and we would need to remember that we are all connected through our breath. I want you to go back and listen to just her beautiful, beautiful words that she offered there. And then in episode 22, I offered just a little mini episode as well. This was last week. It was 3 ways to de-stress this holiday season. So you can go back and listen to that. The next category was, I'm just going to say, on aging. In episode 10, Kristen Milan joined us on Cracking the Code on Women's Longevity, Expert Insights for Your Best Years Ahead. Kristen is a board-certified nurse midwife. She's a menopause expert. She's a breast health expert, and she's co-founder of the company Femgevity, which emphasizes the need for more personalized, women-specific healthcare. And she also just really understands the importance of understanding individual risk factors for optimal health outcomes. I loved the guidance that she gave us. I definitely encourage you to check out Femgevity if you're looking for someone to walk alongside you, and just really appreciated all that Kristen brought in terms of bone health, in terms of understanding how some of the research we may be seeing online and from the quote unquote experts or influencers aren't necessarily applicable or appropriate for women in our phase. I think she has such knowledge in taking the information and understanding how it relates to us, to women in our perimenopause and beyond. We also talk about cold plunging. We talk about sexual health and menopause. So definitely worth a listen to. And then also under that aging category is a little mini section or mini series based off of me as I age into my next decade. In episode 12, I offered 50 lessons I've learned in 50 years. This was one of the ways that I wanted to celebrate my birthday that I had. I am now currently 50 and am just trudging along. It doesn't really feel different than 49, I got to admit, except I do have one friend who several years ago, we were at a party and I mentioned to her husband, I was like, well, I'm not 50 yet. And so ever since then, he has called me Not 50 instead of Amy. So he's like, hey, Not 50. So now he can't call me Not 50 anymore. That's probably the only thing that's different. But anyway, that was a fun one to put together. Just the lessons that I've learned. I took several weeks and took my time in formulating those lessons. And that's just a nice kind of pinpoint in one period of time of my life of lessons that I've learned. And then I took the next 4 or 5 episodes after that as a 5 days to 50 countdown. You can go listen to why I did this and why I kept it kind of small and simple, but those were just simple challenges to count down to my birthday that I did. I invited you all to do them with me, my community over on the Graced Health Facebook community group. And that was just a fun way to celebrate leading up to 50. In episode 19, this is kind of a standalone. I guess this would be under fitness, but there's only one episode. This is the under 50 items you need to start strength training. I give 2 items that I highly recommend that you can use when you are starting into your strength training journey. This is going to lead into one of the updates that I have. I released this episode because I wanted you to be able to put it on a Christmas wish list. I wanted them on your wish list because I told you I was releasing a course or launching a course in late January called Strong and Vibrant at Home, Strength Training and Wellness for Christian Women in Perimenopause and Beyond. If you are doing that, or if you're buying yourself gifts for Christmas, I wanted you to be able to do that. And I want you to keep those. If you have them, I want you to keep them. However, I also wanted to just let you know and keep you in on the loop that instead of launching it in late January, I will be launching it in late March. I've had a few things come up that need my attention, and I was starting to get very stressed because I had my days just scheduled out to the minute over the next 6 weeks. And I just took a pause and I felt God saying, like, yeah, you can do this, but is it what's best for you? It's like that verse. I wish I could remember what it is, but everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. Like, yes, that was permissible. I could do that I could get it done, but would I have the kind of Christmas season that I want to? Would I be able to enjoy my kids the way that I want to with that schedule? The answer was no. I sat down with my husband and I said, okay, this is what I'm thinking. And he gave me some great guidance with that. So I'm pushing that back until March. I hope that I am not messing anything up with you. But I also feel like I have to practice what I preach. And if I am talking about stress management, if I am talking about white space, if I am talking about being still with God, as I do throughout all of the episodes, then I need to live that out as well. And having that late January launch date would not allow for any of that. So I hope you understand with that. It's probably bothering me more than it's going to bother anyone else, but I had this expectation that I was going to get it out, and now I can't. But it's also what's most beneficial to me. Then once I felt that little breath that, okay, I can relax a little. Then I thought, well, that feels good. What else do I need to do that with? So to that end, I will be taking a break from this podcast until mid-January. I'm not exactly sure the date I will be back, but be sure to subscribe or to follow this wherever you listen. And whenever I come back, it will pop up right in your feed. So that is a good way to ensure that you get the updates. And of course, if you do not get my weekly updates with podcast episodes, go over to gracedhealth.com/podcast. That'll be in the show notes. And you can sign up there to receive just the high level updates of every podcast episode. Those typically just come out on Tuesday. So I'm not overloading your inbox. I swear there are some people when you sign up, it's like, leave me alone. I liked you and now you're bothering me. I really try hard not to be one of those people. But if you want to make sure that you get the updates and you know them when we are back on, then make sure you sign up there. We will be coming back in January. I'll be talking more about strength training. I'll be talking more about how to be strong and vibrant. I've got some great guests coming on. So I'm excited for that, but also I'm excited for stillness. I'm excited to just pause and breathe. And I got to tell you, even already, I am reaping the benefits of that. I had some time to breathe this morning. As I am recording this, it is almost 11 o'clock. I am still in my pajamas. I sat outside. I had some be still time. I'm so privileged to be able to do this, I recognize, but also, how does that look for you? How can you create that right space? So I encourage you to do that. Have a wonderful Merry Christmas. Have a wonderful New Year. I will see you in January. And that's all for today. Go out there and have a graced day. I hope you found value in our episode today. Your thoughts matter and they shape future episodes. Do you have a question for a future episode? Feedback on today's show? Maybe a topic idea? I want to know. I really do. Just click the link in the show notes that says send some quick feedback. Click here. This anonymous input helps improve the podcast for our entire community. Don't hesitate. I truly read every submission and value your engagement. Your privacy is protected, so feel free to share openly. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, and I'll see you next time. Hey, I'm so glad you've tuned in today. Thank you. A quick note before we go. This podcast has over 400 episodes and is on a journey of growth and evolution, just like all of us. Some episodes before January 2024 may contain references to diet culture or perspectives that don't fully align with our current approach to health and wellness from a weight-neutral, intuitive eating perspective. So, listen with a discerning ear, take what serves you, and leave the rest. Thanks for understanding and for growing with us on this journey.